as you actually fundamentally believe in what you do and actually deliver that message with a passion and listen to the customer, what the customer wants, and connect what you have to offer to what the customer wants, the customer will buy you. Because at the end of it, the only reason the customer is investing their time in meeting you is because they want to buy something. And as long as you're able to actually deliver the message and connect it with the needs, they will buy it from you.
When you do talk with the customer, despite the differences in the appearance, if you're able to establish a connection where at a very fundamental they can see that you propose something valuable and that you have some degree of trust that you are creating in them, in their mindset. And while maybe you look different and dress different, but if you're able to establish that fundamental human connection of trust, then it doesn't matter.
Correct. Correct.
And so how did you do that? I mean, because initially, obviously, when you met someone, they were looking at you and say, is he from Middle East? Is he from, where is he from? And the entire thought process is about where you're from and who you are, and you dress this way. Even people from Middle East who probably might be dressing differently, they come to the U.S. and they change their approach and style and appearance. And you obviously have great pride in it, as I know from a personal level. Then did you do something differently to establish that trust?
Well, I don't know if I did anything differently. I basically, as a very simple formula of, under promise or over deliver, and ultimately that will actually build trust. And the question is, how do you get your first break? The first break you actually get from the people who actually in the industry. Now, I came from the pharma industry. I've actually never worked in any other industry except for the last 2 years, or 1.5 years since we've been part of Cognizant. I had actually never worked in any other industry. So, we started doing business with the folks that I had known personally. I had worked with them before while I was working for another company. And that's how we got the break. And we built a tremendous reputation of actually delivering very high-end quality, very high-end service, and actually really delivering on what we promise. See, if you just step back, ultimately, anytime you actually sell anything to the customer, obviously it has to have value. Otherwise, why would the customer pay you anything for that, right? However, if you look at the business that, the company that we built, which is MarketRx, we are in the business of actually doing a sales strategy, market strategy, sales analytics, marketing analytics to help customers actually run their sales and marketing operations more effectively. If you think about it from a pharmaceutical company's perspective, this is one of the most important tasks that they can undertake. So the level of trust that you have to have with the customer is an order of magnitude more than if I was going into a CIA's office and then selling them a software or selling them an IT services, or actually, if I was actually, selling them any other widget. So the level of trust actually comes from when the customer can actually look you in the eye and they know you know the industry, you know the business, and you can actually deliver what you're promising. And I've never had a customer, who would start spending $5 million in the first go. They first start with a couple of maybe a few tens of thousands or maybe a few hundreds of thousands to then go to a few $1 million. And the trust has to be built. The other thing that we have benefited tremendously is that pharmaceutical industry is, even though it's a very large industry as compared to from a dollars perspective and the impact it has on our society and the value it creates to the whole human race. But when you look at it from an industry's perspective, it's actually a very small industry where everyone knows everyone. So when you look at it, if you look at the total universe of so-called customers I can actually find in this industry in terms of number of individuals, they're less than maybe 2,000 people. So it's very important for you to actually deliver what you promise, and that actually builds the trust. I think that's one thing which basically has the biggest impact on actually building a trust than anything else.
Now, I agree with you that trust is fundamental to the growth. However, the way I look at it is, and as anybody, as you would agree, there are fundamentally 3 ways of growing revenue. One is by going out there and doing cold calls or just knocking on doors and getting your business and getting your foot in there. Second is through marketing, lead generation that comes from many different avenues. And third is through networking. You know somebody and therefore you got in. Right? Now, in your situation, when you obviously started, it must have been hard. So I hear you saying that the word of mouth was very important, because once you develop the trust, you went to the next person and you had a reference point to say, hey, this person really believes in me and here's the reason. So the two aspects to this then. One, how did you get your first break? And did you have to go through that process multiple times, or did you use word of mouth, references? What was your fundamental strategy for getting more business created out of this?
Right. So between the three things that you talked about, which is basically do cold calling, second one is to create a brand name, and third one is to basically go through the network. In terms of when I look at how we got the first break, as well as actually where we still continue to get most of the business, the single biggest factor has been the network. The second one has been the brand name. And actually cold calling has done some for us, but it hasn't really worked out very well for us. And I can elaborate a little bit upon that. And now, this could be just, because we're a very niche business in one particular industry. So it's important to go out and actually get, as I said earlier, that there is a small universe of people that you can go out and actually sell to. So how we got the first break was that we started off with a business which was actually very new. None of us had ever done that before, but it was so new that no one in the industry had ever done that before. And that was actually connecting pharmaceutical companies with physicians on the internet. Physicians were just getting on the internet. This is 2000. Everyone thought that the internet was going to revolutionize the world, and actually there was going to be a gold rush, and we were out there looking for our gold on the internet as well. And so we started in a business called e-detailing, which is doing online promotions and connecting pharmaceutical companies with the doctors. Our customers who we were selling to were on one hand the product managers, product marketing directors at the pharmaceutical companies, and on the other hand it was basically doctors out there. Pitching to them that they can get more valuable information on the internet rather than actually going through meetings with sales reps or actually reading a lot of material like journals and stuff like that. How we went around actually selling to the product managers was essentially using the network to get introductions to a handful of product managers at only one or two companies, because we had to go out and actually get the proof of concept done, run a couple of pilots, use that as again a reference and a case study to go out and actually really doing a lot of marketing to create leads. So that's again the network really helped there. When it came to actually recruiting the doctors, we had no relationships with the doctors and so on. And there we actually used just direct promotion, direct marketing, sending out emails, sending out letters, sending out faxes, promoting to them that the virtue of doing online education and online promotion was a much more effective way for them to get maximum value for their time that they want to invest in learning about new products and new indications. So those are kind of how we went about getting started.